Hello everyone, welcome to the How to Set Aligned Goals workshop. I'm going to make this replay a little bit faster and I'm going to attach the PDF with all the details below so you can reference it on your own time and have it as a resource forever. So let's get started. Here's what we're going to cover today: how to decode your desires. That means I have a lot of people coming to me who say they don't know what goals they need to set, or maybe they feel like they're out of alignment, but they aren't exactly sure what that means or what they need to do to figure out what the next step is going to be. The main part of this workshop is going to be the tools to decode your desires, and I'm going to give you 3 different exercises. Next, I'll quickly touch on the 8 areas of life to set goals so that you remain within alignment and you also don't burn out. I'll chat about the 4 science-backed reasons people don't accomplish their goals, and we'll briefly touch on some things you can reflect on every time you finish a sprint or for the past year, as well as a few high-level goal-setting things. But let's start by decoding our desires. So I'm going to provide 3 different exercises: clarity mapping, the best life blueprint, which I'm also going to be including in this email, and a personal scorecard. So first, what is clarity mapping? Clarity mapping is important because if you think of yourself going around in the world, you're getting a lot of different influences coming at you, and it's impacting how you view what you think you want. It's the theory of mimetic desire, which a French philosopher came up with, which speaks to when we see someone that has something, we think that we should want it too. And sometimes this can cloud our judgment of who we really are and what we really want. So I like to think of our true self as being a clear mirror, but all of these different influences representing dust on the mirror. That could be culture, family, friends, media, trauma, anything that makes you think this is how it should be. However, what we want to do is we really want to map out what we really believe in. So we need to take all of these things that are influencing us, and they are influencing us, and we need to take some time alone to try and pull ourselves out of the narrative of what we think we should be doing and really align with what we truly want, what we truly desire. Because it's okay if it's different from what you're being told you should. So some great exercises within clarity mapping would include remembering when you were young, what your dreams were, how you acted, what excited you, taking some time to dream without feeling guilty or having obligation around it, observing envy, which is one of my favorites. If you see someone with a life, maybe it's not a life that you think you should have, but you feel jealous, you wish you had that life. Maybe they have more freedom than you, maybe they have more connection in a family, more stability, who knows? But observe that envy, send them abundance and gratitude and say, I'm so happy for them, so you don't get bitter, but just observe that and be like, thank you, this is so helpful in me knowing what I want to be in alignment with. And then the last piece is sometimes when we are trying to decode our desires, we get in the mindset of, it's not going to work out though. Like, that's too crazy. It's not going to work. I'm not even going to think of it. So whenever you catch yourself having that thought, imagine the best case scenario and think of what would it look like if I actually succeeded in this. The next piece that I want to recommend when we're working on decoding our desires is called the Best Life Blueprint. And the Best Life Blueprint is basically with millions of different influences coming into your life in millions of different directions that your life could go. If you don't take the time to sit down and think about what you really desire in the future, 3, 5, 1 years from today, you're not going to necessarily end up in a place where you feel happy and aligned. So what we do is we sit down and we actually imagine ourselves within this best life of ours. And we write down all the different pieces of our life as they are. So we talk about our community and our friends, family and relationships, investments in money, travel and adventure, and home life and day-to-day. This is how we get to where we want to go. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to sit down in a quiet spot and think about what your life is going to be like 3, 5, and 1 year in the future. But the way that you're going to sit down and write it is you're going to write my name is X, the date is 5 years in the future, for example, and I am X years old. And then you can go through each of these categories as if it's your actual reality, as if it's your actual existence. And this is why I love the day-to-day piece, because I'll even include things like the type of coffee I'm drinking, what I can see through my window, what I do and have for lunch, what types of meetings I have, and things like this. And the powerful thing about this is that you're almost reverse engineering your dream future. You're becoming more clear on it and more in alignment with it. And some may call it manifesting, but essentially, if you're going to be visualizing exactly what you want and knowing within your body exactly what you want, you're so much more likely to pick up on those cues that are going to help get you to this place. So this is such a powerful, powerful exercise. And I've found many times that I've done this exercise, I've forgotten about it, and I've looked back and found it, say 3 years later, and it's uncanny, the similarities. Even if I'm dreaming a little bit and I'm putting myself out there and saying, oh, I don't know if it's possible, but let's just dream without guilt. This is the way to do it. Next up, we have the personal scorecard. So as you're going through the world and you're trying to not give in to mimetic desire and you're trying to set goals in your highest alignment, it can be really difficult to feel like you're not doing something wrong. And that's where this is such a powerful tool, is the personal scorecard helps you create a word based on your core values. So mine is Cobra with a K. And each of these core values is how you can measure yourself in every situation that you come across. So for example, if you have an encounter with someone and you have to set a boundary that you don't feel comfortable setting, perhaps because of your upbringing or just because it's not easy sometimes standing up for yourself, you can walk away from that interaction and look at your personal scorecard and say, was I kind? Was I open-minded? Was I brave, rational, authentic, etc.? And if you were all those things, then you can say, well, I was in alignment with my values and my scorecard and what I feel is right. And that's okay. And that's how I choose to show up. And so this helps you stay on your path. So that is how to decode your desires. Now, I'll quickly touch on the different types of goals to set. And I'm not going to go too far into details because I do have a full workshop on this. But if you want to screenshot, when I say goal setting, it's not about making a bunch of money or getting that promotion. It's actually about actualization, transformation, and happiness. And I recommend setting balanced goals in each of these 8 different categories to help you feel more happy and aligned. Again, we'll go through all of the different ones in the slide deck. I'm not going to go through them all now. But essentially, I believe that you should have a balance of at least a few happiness goals, transformation goals, and actualization goals while you're setting up your goals for the year, so that you have a really nice balance of hustle, bringing it back to yourself, growth, building healthy habits. As you can see, I've got all the different examples of what these 8 pillars are and some examples of types of SMART +++ goals that you could set within each one. I want to touch quickly on a couple of my favorites. Experiential goals are trying something completely new, and this is transformational because it gets you out of your comfort zone. Spirit and soul goals are things I don't think are set enough in our society today. It's goals that you do just because they make you feel great, giving back, creating without monetization, things that help connect you to yourself, your alignment. Habitual goals I recommend doing on a sprint because they are difficult to make happen, but always remember, once you set and complete a habitual goal, it's going to be easier to complete the habit moving forward than it ever was before. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Now we'll talk about goal crushers. There are 4 common goal crushers. Well, of course, there's thousands and thousands of reasons why you don't achieve or accomplish your goals. However, studies have done research on this, and for all the millions of different reasons, it actually does all boil down to one of these 4 categories. So the secret is to understand which goal crusher is blocking you the most, and then we have the tools to help you get out of your own way. The goal crushers are mindset goal crushers, misalignment, which is what this workshop was for, the beginning exercises, a lack of systems, which is what we do at Triple G, and accountability. So let me go into them high level so you can identify which one is your biggest challenge and how you can resolve it. Mindset is probably one of the most common. It's actually a lack of belief in ourself, potentially actualization. And I do think the misalignment piece plays into this, but essentially, it's not feeling like you can accomplish your goals. And so, ways to overcome this, here are some specific solutions that I've listed here. And I've also listed some of the challenges. If this resonates with you, I definitely recommend these solutions. The next one is misalignment, and really I should just put on here, take this workshop and lean into the exercises that I shared. The next one is systems, and this is what we'll talk about in the next workshop that is linked in this email. You gotta check it out, but essentially, without proper systems, how are you supposed to accomplish your goals? It's thinking about how to set, track, make time for, and remain accountable for goals. And also the biggest piece is the SMART++ goals. And finally, accountability, which can be very difficult because it's something that you have to get from external, essentially, resources. We do offer sprints at Triple G. You can also just get a group together, and I have a sprint framework that I can share. And now we're going to talk about what you can reflect on for the year. So I like to talk about not just what you did or didn't do, but also about how it made you feel, because this is the workshop on aligned goals. So what was fulfilling, what wasn't, get really honest about it, and it might not be what you expect, which is really interesting. And if you're looking to do a more expansive and deep dive on what to reflect, Napoleon Hill in his book Think and Grow Rich talks about the annual assessment and all the key things that you should do within it, which I've listed out here. And finally, I'll quickly touch on high-level goal setting. So I just want to say only 8% of people achieve their goals, only 20% set goals at all, and only 3% of people write them down, and less than 1% track them daily. So by being here and putting in this thought, you're already ahead of the curve of so many people. Essentially what I do, super high level, I will take those categories that I shared. I will write down 1 to 3 SMART++ goals in each of those categories. And at the top of this, I'm going to write down my intention. This is just going to be in a notes file on your phone. Those are Bitmojis. You could create them for free. And then you're going to set a recurring calendar appointment. Mine's on Sunday. And you're going to check in with yourself, and you're going to check this document, which is a high-level annual document. But that is just the annual goal checking in. Then what you're going to do is you're going to use the Triple G goal setting app, and you're going to put each of your goals into the app. And this is what you're going to use to track your goals on a daily basis. So you can set them all up in here. And the beauty of it is that it'll look like this once you've got them all set up. So you can meditate for 500 minutes is your goal. You sit down, you meditate for 5 minutes, and then after you can open the app and click 5 up, and then you never lose track of where you're at in your goals, and you can reference on your weekly check-ins where you're at. It's that easy in your pocket accountability that is so powerful. This is my sprint framework. So I do recommend every quarter doing a sprint with a group of people, and you can use a framework like this that is essentially Google spreadsheet, and everyone jumps in and tracks where they're at, and you check in every single week for 30 days. And this, especially if you're wanting to set a habitual goal, highly recommend. Remember, action is the great restorer and builder of confidence, and inaction is not only the result but the case of fear. I'm going to be launching a transformation program in February. This is everything that's going to be included. If you're interested, reach out, and I would love to have you join.